So in front of me here, I have another Great Eastern Cutlery 48 trapper pattern. This one is a special factory order for Mike Latham over at Collector Knives. And I believe he's done a couple runs of these before, but this is the improved trapper, and it's in blackwood, smooth blackwood. I don't really understand the difference between blackwood and ebony. I don't know if there's much of a difference, and I don't know if this is like African blackwood or if it's just regular blackwood. I don't know, but it looks good. Looks similar to ebony, maybe slightly more brown than a lot of ebony is. But the knife overall is just really well made, as you would kind of expect from Great Eastern Cutlery. Real quick before we get going, these didn't come with a hat pin or whatever we're calling them, the little button. Didn't come with one. I'm guessing he didn't have them made for the SFO. And they just come in a regular tube, which is cool with me. This is a Northfield, but it's a Northfield done with satin blades, which I love. Um, Typically, I prefer Titty knives because they don't have the super high polish that a lot of the Northfield knives do. Um, the only reason why I don't like the super high polish is it makes doing these videos and taking pictures and everything a lot harder because the blades reflect so much light, similar to what these bolsters are doing here. You can see my hand moving in them. Um, so the super high polished blade is really hard to show off well on a camera. Um, so I prefer satin blades. But anyway, like I said, this is a special factory order for Collector Knives, Mike Latham over there. And this is his improved trapper. And basically, you get your clip blade here, which is pretty similar to like a muskrat clip. Actually, I have a muskrat in my pocket today, so let me compare them. Yeah, it's pretty similar to like a muskrat clip blade, I would say. This one does have some swedging at the top of it, which is nice looking. Some swedging up there. Looks good. Nail neck, of course. Like I said, satin blades. I love that. You'll see here Northfield unexcelled, but it's satin. It's got Collector Knives little blade etch on there. CK. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this, but as I've talked about before about blade etches, the cool thing about a blade etch on a carbon steel blade is that if you use this knife, that blade etch will go away. So I'm not all that concerned about it. So that's the main blade. Does have a half stop. The action is really good. Really good action on that blade. Really nice looking clip point blade. And like I said, it's kind of like a muskrat clip. Really love the swedge. Really good looking blade. And then we'll show off the secondary blade. So on the improved trapper, you get a clip point blade and a Warncliffe blade instead of your spay blade on a normal trapper. And of course, the regular run of these 48s had a pen blade secondary, which I also like. But it's cool having two full-size blades in a trapper pattern. But I'm not a huge fan of the spay blade in general. I'm actually not a huge fan of trapper patterns, but I like the trappers with different blades, definitely more than your standard trapper. And I was super excited to get in on this because I just so happened to be holding my phone when he sent out the notification on Telegram. So I ended up getting one before I looked at how much it was going to cost and everything, of course. But it gets to a point where, like, honestly, like I'll pay the money for the Great Eastern Cutlery knife to the dealer rather than paying, premium on the secondary market. So these were $170, which is a lot, but it's Northfield. It's an SFO. I don't know how many of these they made, but they might be fairly rare. That being said, they're not numbered or anything, so I don't know. We would have to wait till the start of next year to look at the production totals. And I don't really care about stuff like that because this I'm planning on carrying and using this knife, so it doesn't matter to me. But action on both blades, really good. The Warncliffe here does have another swedge as well. Both of these blades are really, really nicely swedged, so I do appreciate that. Very sharp little point. Recently, I've been hearing people complain about Great Eastern Cutlery's edges. I don't know if it's going to be sharp enough to shave with, but there's definitely an edge there. Yeah, I can't quite shave with it. So it is like duller than most of my knives are after I sharpen them and strop them and everything. But that being said, I don't really understand the complaints about the edges because they'll cut things, no problem. Like there's definitely an edge there, so it will cut things. I think in the world where we have all these fancy sharpeners and everything, I think a lot of us have gotten used to just having knives that are so sharp that it's ridiculous. Like the fact that my standard for a sharp knife is does it shave my arm hair is a little ridiculous, I would say. But some people are even more ridiculous with it. So I don't understand the complaining about the factory edges on these knives. They're fine. They'll cut things. They're better than cases edges are. Um, at least, well, every knife that I've gotten that's a case knife has a rough edge. You need to like strop those or something. But anyway, I don't understand why people are complaining about the edges, but they do. So keep that in mind with Great Eastern Cutlery. You're getting a factory edge on a traditional pocket knife. It's probably not going to be like Spyderco sharp. I don't think you should expect that from a traditional pocket knife. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show off this blackwood here because of my lighting situation, but it is like a very dark brown. It's got some streaks of like a lighter brown in it. And this side's a little bit more brown than that side. Really good looking, I will say. I really like the way it looks. I like wooden handles on knives. There used to be, I used to only want like jigged bone and stuff, but recently in the past couple of years, I've gotten into some other stuff, and I really like wooden handles because they're still a natural material, much like bone or stag or that kind of thing. So it'll still change and age over time and darken and all those things. Soak up the oils from your hands. But I used to be way into like micarta and jig bone, and those were like the things that I wanted. I like wood a lot these days. I also have been uh, dealing with some acrylic in the past couple of years, and I like acrylic, not as much as I like jig bone or wood or something, but acrylic's cool because you can make it really pretty, like this coffee house acrylic coon skinner here. I do love this knife, um, so much that I bought two of them. Um, but yeah, so wooden handles, love that. Like this wood, it looks really good, I will say. I think I would have preferred ebony or maybe like a cocobolo, but this is good. I like it. You get a good shield there, nickel silver shield, houndstooth shield, not a carrot shield. It doesn't have the little nub on the back of it. This is just a houndstooth shield. Looks good. Brass pins, brass liners, nickel silver bolsters and caps. High polished. Mine are a little scuffed up. I think probably just from like the wax paper and moving around in the tube and stuff. Nothing to be all that upset about, obviously. Like I said, I'm going to carry this knife, so I don't really care. Lined bolsters or threaded bolsters, depending on what word you want to use for this, but you know, nice little fanciful touch there with the threaded bolsters. Blade centering, clip blades pretty perfect. I'm trying to show the Warncliffe. It's a little harder to show. Warncliffe might just be slightly off center, but it's really close. Um, but yeah, overall, really nice knife. Really like it. Really good action. Another really good special factory order from Mike over at Collector Knives, and I'm really excited to carry it and use it and everything. One last thing, there's no blade play on either of these blades, which I always appreciate. Occasionally you'll get a knife from Great Eastern Cutlery that will have some side-to-side blade play. It's not a huge deal for me because I can pretty easily fix it, but something to be aware of. But really like this knife, really cool knife, really excited to carry it. Um, that's why I'm doing this video right now, so that I can hopefully throw this knife in my pocket for tomorrow maybe. But yeah, overall, really nice knife. Usually really like the SFOs from Collector Knives. I feel like he does a really good job of doing the SFOs and everything. I think the last SFO I got from him was the Sud Buster, I think, which I think became a pretty popular knife. Um, but yeah, I think his SFOs are always very popular with everybody. So yeah, excited I got one of these. Really cool knife. Um, and I like it. And of course, it's really well made, like you would pretty much expect from Great Eastern Cutlery. But anyway, it's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.